Welcome to the latest episode of Honest Reviews. Today we're going to be looking at the Diridari frame from Entente. If you're unfamiliar with Entente or Entente or Entente or however it's pronounced, I'm going to go with Entente. It is started by Mark Hughes. Mark Hughes worked for Powerslide for around 10 years. If you remember some of Eugen Ennen's most famous sections, like the intern diaries and stuff like that, he had a hand in filming those. Eugen Ennen once described Mark Hughes to me as the biggest fucking geek in rollerblading, which I took great offence to because I thought I was the biggest geek in rollerblading. But apparently he's got a kind of encyclopedic knowledge of blading, aggressive blading, so it's quite interesting. I don't know why he left Powerslide, but he struck out on his own with this company, and they've got a couple of frames on the market. They've got the Axis frame, I think it's called, which is kind of like a pointy one, and then they've got this. So I bought a set of these because I was quite intrigued by the design. I liked how kind of, simple and sleek it looked. The axle design reminds me of the blank frames by Rollerblade. And the aesthetic of the plastic, I'm not sure what it's made up of, but I'll look that up. It kind of reminded me of the Symmetrics frames, and I just really liked the design. I thought it was, really simple and good. The H block is, it's kind of hard to describe what it reminds me of, but someone actually pointed out that it's very similar to the Bake 60mm frame. Now, Bake were a company from England that have actually stopped producing frames, so even if it is influenced by that, they're no longer in production, so it's kind of fair game, and a lot of frames share similarities. It's kind of very difficult to make a drastically different frame, so there are chances that you're going to see different frames from different companies with very similar elements. However, comparing these to the previous couple of frames that I've tried, I was on Create Originals frames for years, absolutely loved them until it became almost impossible to get a set, until recently, and putting them side by side, I would say the Diridari frame has a slightly wider H block, but it's got a bigger curve, so potentially, easier lock-on straight out the box, no need to break it in. And for the past few months, I've been using the Them Street frame, which I absolutely love. I even prefer it to the Create Originals frame. It comes with an H block that is a relatively similar size to the Diridari, but unlike the Them Skates street frame, it has wheel protectors, and they're not massive. It just kind of comes up slightly, as you can see. A more extreme version would be the Celtic frame, which is quite big. These ones are only slightly raised, but hopefully offer slightly more wheel protection. So I didn't try skating these flat because I'm a coward and I wimped out. But with these, I've decided to give them a bash. So it looks like I'm going to be trying flat setup for the 560,000th millionth time in my brief 25 years of blading. These stock 60mm flat, so you can skate them 60 flat, kind of like, I don't know, a USD Aeon perhaps. But I have decided to go with 56mm flat just to offer hopefully a little bit less wheel bite and ease myself into skating flat, and hopefully make myself a little bit more confident when doing grinds on ledges and coping. So by the power of editing, voila, here we have it. So we've got the grey 909. I've put on some new black sole plates, which are like gold dust at the moment. I got them off another brand new set that I happen to have lying around, and 56mm flat. I love the way it looks. In fact, just looking at this skate has got me so hyped and makes me want to sing to them. Beautiful, I just want you to know you're my... Moving swiftly on. I think after putting these on, my initial impressions were really good. Loved how simple it looked. I was a bit concerned about the free roll because even with 8mm spacers in, and you know, the frames coming with aluminium spacers on the inside, the free roll isn't great. Only one of the wheels kind of, yeah. But I have tightened them quite tight, so we'll see what it's like. Looking at them, it doesn't look like much of the wheels exposed near the H-block, and there's quite a healthy gap between the second and third wheel, you know, like where the H-block ends and the wheel starts. So I am quite confident about skating them flat. Another thing I noticed when I was putting them together in my office is that when you lie them flat, the middle two wheels didn't roll, which proves that the frame might not be perfectly true. It might not be absolutely flush, but in my experience, no frame is. You know, I've had Symmetrics, Create Originals, Ground Control, and whenever you put all the wheels flat in them, it's very rare that it actually sits perfectly flat. In fact, Create Originals were probably some of the most warped ones that I had. Just when I sat it on the boot, it would like kind of like curve up the way. It doesn't really matter that much because there's no perfectly flat ground in real life. Like when you go to a skate park, there's bumps and, you know, like holes and stuff like that that's making the ground uneven. When you skate street, it is pretty much impossible to find perfectly flat ground. So the fact that the frame is not perfectly flat and flush on the ground shouldn't make that much of a difference. As always, I'm going to skate these for about a month, or, you know, that translates into like 5 or 6 sessions because I have a full-time job and a kid. I'm going to skate them in street and park, see how they get on coping, rails, ledges, etc. And yeah, just give them a bash. My main concern about these is I absolutely love H-block tricks. Anyone who knows me, or if you've seen any of my previous Honors reviews, most of my tricks are Royale based, Favre based and Unity based. So if I start losing that trick on these frames, then I'll lose all confidence in skating them and I'll end up shoving in anti-rockers. But I'm going to give it a bash, you know, try and stick with it, persevere and see if it benefits, because one of my main things that I don't like about skating anti is the power transfer. I hate how slow it feels getting from object to object or obstacle to obstacle, and that's what keeps me coming back to skating flat rocker. So I'm going to try it again for God knows how many times I've tried it over the years, and hopefully this is the frame to make a difference. And we're back. I have been skating the Entente Diridari frames for just over a month. I got them at the start of July, and we're now a little bit into August. I have skated them on a variety of terrain, including indoor park, outdoor park, a plaza, street, metal ledges as well, and some handrails. So yeah, fair amount of different kinds of terrain. And one of the things that I was kind of dreading about trying flat setup again is the punishment. I feel like you get punished for doing tricks incorrectly or being inaccurate. I feel like most people who skate flat and skate flat well have really good technique and really good accuracy. I am not one of those people. I have distinctly average rollerblading abilities. I don't have a big trick vocabulary. I am not comfortable on a lot of different terrains. So I kind of felt like skating anti for years was just the safest way to go. Tried flat various times and it just never worked out with the various frames I've tried, like Celtic, Symmetrics, God, can't remember what else, Create Originals. There's been others, I just can't remember them. Ground Control HD frames, I tried aluminium as well, and that didn't go well at all. But with these, I'm not gonna lie, I absolutely loved them. I could not find a fault with this frame. The first time I skated them, I was a little bit apprehensive doing things like Royales and Favres and Unities, just because I was really worried about wheel bite. And it may have happened a couple of times. I heard like the squeak of the wheel, but I didn't actually like stick and get pitched forward like I expected to. I skated handrails, and even in a couple of the clips you can hear like where the foot or like the wheel is squeaking on the rail, because I've obviously just not got my foot positioned right, and it didn't slow down, it felt fine. The various elements that I loved about it was skating street just felt better on these. Like, there's a lot of uneven, rough ground and cracked ground in Scotland, and skating it on anti means that you're constantly tripping up or getting really slowed down, or the energy transfer isn't good. It is so much better just skating from A to B, obstacle to obstacle on these frames. And with the groove, there was no wear in time at all. Pretty much from the first day I was skating them, I had a shot at an outdoor park, and then we went straight to a handrail, and yeah, it was just absolutely fine. Was able to do like Royales and Unities and Favres and like topside tricks on them just fine. What I love about them the most though is the solid sound of them. When you land on the ground, because you've not got anti-rockers, and even the anti-rockers I had bearings in them that, you know, but they still like made a slight rattle, or if you rolled over certain ground you could hear them like creaking underneath because they'd caught like a bump or a stone or whatever. Because you're riding flat all the way down, it just sounds so like muted and like as quiet as possible, and I love that. And weirdly, people I even skate with commented on it. They were like, that sounds like a much more solid skate now. I have been, like I said, I've been riding these for about a month. The groove is quite deep, I do not deny that. I'm sure a lot of like flat skating purists probably won't like it. They like a nice shallow groove so they can get right on top of the ledge. But even with skating, and I've skated some pretty rough ledges, I just didn't manage to get footage of it. Even skating those ledges, there's not really any groove. Like, the biggest groove I generally get is there, because that's like my front foot on Royales, or here, because this is my backside foot. Yeah, I did not, it's not really like worn in at all. So hopefully, you know, the plastic retains that kind of rigidity and doesn't wear away too much, because then you will kind of start noticing it a little bit. But yeah, like, it's very rare that I'll review a product on Honest Reviews and not have anything negative to say about it. Normally, if it's skates, like with the Them skates, I absolutely love them, but I think the stock liners are terrible, and I just wish that the heel was a little bit bigger, just by like a few millimeters. You know, with various wheels that I've tried, I've commented on things that I liked and disliked about them. I think this might be the first product that I've reviewed on Honest Reviews that I don't have anything negative to say about it. It comes with spare hardware, which is really good quality. The bolts never come loose. The free spin on them is pretty good now, even though I've absolutely trashed these by skating handrails with, you know, mud and dirt on the other side. I have tried flat various times, so many times, more times than I can possibly remember, and I've never been converted. I've wanted to, but it's just never worked out. I've never got comfortable on them. I've felt like I've lost tricks. I've just not been able to skate the way that I know I'm capable of. None of that happened with these frames. I've absolutely loved them from start to finish, and I genuinely believe I am a flat skating convert. I've been using them with 56mm muzzle wheels, and they've held up really well. In fact, you know, after a month of skating street, neither set, maybe that one has started to kind of slightly get some shape there, but yeah, another great thing about it is the wheels are going to last longer. You know, muzzle wheels are kind of entry level wheels. They're quite cheap. I think they're only like £25 for a set. So it's a lot cheaper to, you know, do flat setup on those than it is on, say, I don't know, Undercover or Dead or Eulogy or something like that. I've been finding them absolutely brilliant. They work great on all terrain. That setup, yeah, the combination of the frames and the wheels, just loving every minute of it, and I'm definitely going to keep skating them for the foreseeable future. I'm going to try them with, after these have finally worn out and died, which I don't see happening for a while, I want to try them with some higher end wheels. I want to try them with some slightly bigger wheels, like 58mm. I'm not going to go to 60mm, which I know the frame can take, just because I'm still too much of a coward for that. But yeah, if you are thinking about trying flat, or you want to try flat again but you didn't enjoy it in the past, or you had issues in the past with wheel bite, I would strongly recommend getting a set of Entente Diridari frames. The only downside I will say about them is they're not cheap. To get a pair, it's over £100, but depending on how long a set of frames last, £100 is not that much money. For example, the last pair of Create Originals I had lasted almost a year, just over a year, and I skate mainly street, so mainly ledges and handrails, and they held up fine. Yes, by the end the grooves were huge, but they were fine. In fact, they're still going. With these, I think it might actually be quite difficult to groove these any further. They might, you know, they might be made of a material that just doesn't wear away that much, which is perfect. If the groove stays just as it is right now, I will be absolutely happy. So I don't think spending £100 on something that could last a year, maybe longer, is a bad investment or is expensive, because especially not compared to other sports like, you know, mountain bike or snowboarding or skiing or anything like that. In summary, love these frames. I think Mark Hughes and whoever it is he's working with at Entente have done a great job. Still don't know why it's called Entente. I'll need to ask him, or if that's even how you pronounce it. But yeah, strongly recommend checking them out on the website and giving them a try. I'm sure you'll enjoy them, and give me some feedback. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you had a similar experience to what I did. But yeah, I think they're great. Now, enjoy some footage of me falling over.
Oh my god, I was almost